welcome back to the Hog Barn for today's lesson. Today we're focusing on two standards, one being line plots. Now if you remember when we went over line plots earlier this year, we have to pay attention to labels and titles, okay? So when I look at this line plot right here, down below it says student's favorite color. So I know that this graph is going to be showing me the frequency of students that voted for a certain color. Now underneath I can see that I have red, blue, pink, and green. And if you remember, the X's, they're all standing for a vote, okay? So if I look at blue, I count 1, 2, 3, 4 X's, so I know that 4 kids voted for blue. Now when you're doing line plots, they're going to give you a line plot to look at, and then you have to answer the question that goes with the line plot. So I have 3 questions that go with this line plot right here. The first one that we'll look at is this one. What color received the most votes? That one, I just have to look at the X's and find which one has the highest tower, the most X's. And if I look at that one, I see there are 4 for blue and no other color comes close to that. So, my answer for what color received the most votes, I would put blue. The next one that we're going to do says how many more students voted for pink than green? If you remember, how many more, whenever I see that, I'm thinking subtraction. Then after I know what I'm doing, then I have to look and see what numbers they want me, or what colors they want me to subtract. So I've got pink and green. Pink has 3, green has 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. And the final question that we'll go over today for this one is, how many students voted for red and blue combined? The word that should be throwing red flags right now is the word combined. When I see combined, I think add. So I'm going to be adding red and blue. Red is 3, blue is 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. Okay? So when you're doing line plots, make sure that you pay attention to the wording in the question so you know what operation to do. And make sure that you pay attention to the labels so you know how to label them. All right, on to the next standard that we're going to be covering this week. Very easy standard. We're going to be adding and subtracting. And no, we're not going to be adding and subtracting simple numbers. We're going to be adding and subtracting longer numbers, up to the 10,000s on some for one of the harder ones. So, just to review adding and subtracting, we want to make sure that we line up our place values. So if I have 945 plus 327, I can't do this in my head, so I need to stack and add. So I'm going to take 945 plus 327. Now this one had the same numbers, or the same amount of numbers in each. So I just had to line up my ones, my tens, and my hundreds place. Now when I stack and add, I have 5 plus 7 is 12. Remember, I'm going to carry the 1, drop the 2. Now I have 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. And then I have 9 plus 3 is 12. Now I can't carry another 1. I don't have another place value over here, so I'm just going to write 12 underneath right here. Then I need to come back 3 and put in my comma. The answer is 1,272. Let's do a subtraction one. So if I have 2,043 minus 387, remember I cannot do this in my head, so I need to stack and subtract. So I'm going to have 2,043. Now I'm going to subtract 387. Remember, I have to line up my place values. So I've got my ones, tens, and hundreds. I need to line them up with the ones, tens, and hundreds. So I have 387 stacked in their correct place value underneath. Now when I subtract, if I have a smaller number on top, that means that I have to borrow. I have to borrow. So 3 minus 7, I cannot do. 3 is smaller than 7. So I'm going to come to my neighbor. I'm going to borrow 1. And I'm going to add 10. to that 3. So now I have 13 minus 7. 13 minus 7 is 6. Now I can move on to my tens place. 3 minus 8. No, it's not 5. The 3 is smaller than 8, so I have to come to his neighbor. Oh no, I cannot borrow from a 0. So I have to come all the way over, borrow from my 2, and then what does that make my 0? It makes it a 10. Now I start over. Can I take 3 minus 8? No, I can't. But now I have a 10 here instead of a 0. So I can borrow from my 10 and add 10 to my 3. 13 minus 8 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. Place my comma. 1 minus nothing is 1. So, as you're doing your lessons this week, make sure you take your time, stack and add or stack and subtract, and make sure you pay attention to your labels on your line plots. Have a great week, guys.